Run, David, run.
Bowers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was worried. He's making fun because I didn't put the S on his name. So when you're at work sneaking around, you got to get in where you fit in.
All right, Mayor Bowers, great to have you on our show. It's an honor actually to have you on our show. Like I said earlier, how many political figures actually take the time out to sit with your local radio station? With people like me and you, strive for our opportunity to grow. And Mayor Bowers took the time out and came down. We thank you for that.
Hey, thank you. It's nice to be out with you and be around, as I said earlier, be around all these people my age. Well, I'm just kidding. These are nice young folks here, and it's nice to be here on WTOY with you.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
this afternoon.
Thank you. Really appreciate that wholeheartedly. All right, I want to hop right into it, Mr. Bowers. I was reading one of your quotes, and I believe you said, change is about change. It says, all progress is change, but all change is not necessarily progress. And I like that quote. And Roanoke always needs progressive change. How would you go about obtaining progressive change for Roanoke?
I think that's what we've been trying to do for the last several years that I've been back in the mayor's office. You know, I was at the mayor back in the 90s, and I've come back. I like the job. I mean, this is my hometown. Now I'm from upstate New York, but I grew up here, and so I know the people in every neighborhood of the city. I go to all the churches and the schools, and Roanoke's just a part of my life. But I think now we've really accomplished with Roanoke City Council, the current council, a lot of progress for the city, and we've also done it in a good way. I mean, you look at Washington and all the bickering and arguing that we have disagreements, but we don't get disagreeable. And that's a big thing in a democracy. You know, you got to take your stand, and sometimes I take a stand, and I'm on the losing side, even though I'm the mayor.
Right.
I've been on the low end of a 6-1 vote a couple times. So I take my stand, but when you take your stand, you know, you got to move on.
Right.
It's not always going to go your way. So I think what we've been able to do here in Roanoke recently is to have progress, unity, and cooperation. Hey, those are good things. Let's keep it going.
Right, exactly. Those are great things. One of the things I actually like about you, and I notice about you a lot, is that you are no stranger to community events, such as meetings, radio interviews like this, and so forth. Whether it's in a wealthy part of Roanoke or right here off of Melrose, where wealth isn't as predominant. I know you have to campaign towards both. I mean, I'm no stranger to politics. I mean, you got to campaign towards both. But I want to know, how important is it for you to reach the people like us right here at 540 Radio, and the people that not necessarily are poor, but just are not the quote-unquote money people?
Well, I think you got to have a good sense about who you are. And I always just think of myself as a working class guy.
Right.
My father was a bread truck driver for Merida, and I like to be like my father. And so even though I got a lot of education, and I even like to listen to can I tell you this? I even like to listen to the opera now. I do. I didn't always, but in the last few years, it kind of grew on me. Right. So those are some things that I like to do. But I get out and I mow my own yard, and I do my own wash. I fold my own clothes. I'm a working guy, and I get up in the morning and I go to work. I got a nice law practice in downtown Roanoke, and I work. And I think that's important to kind of know as you go into anything that you do, whether it's law, radio, public service, any of the things. You got to know who you are. And I think of myself as just a working class guy. I work hard. I try to be honest about things, and I don't think anybody's any better off or worse off than me. Actually, I know a lot of people in this town that are worse off.
Right.
And so I count my blessings every day. I do some Social Security work now, and there's a lot of destitute people in our community. I really feel for them. I mean, sometimes at the end of my day at my law practice, I want to go home and cry.
Right.
Simply because I see a lot of folks that are just struggling to get by and pay their rent, or to get food stamps, or provide for their children, or get medical care for themselves. And so it's there's a lot of people that just don't have it as good as the rest of us. Right. And if you've got the things in your life, you ought to always count your blessings.
And I'm glad you touched base on that, or we touched base on that, just because seeing people on TV or hearing about it, or just being mayor in general, being from the outside in, you get judged a lot, you know, from the outside public. I mean, some people are my friends in general, or the people we communicate with, because I know where you are and you know where we at. You know, we're going to communicate with a different type of area, basically. Yeah. Exactly. We're going to reach people that you can't reach necessarily, people that can't vote. I talk to people that don't have any voting rights, but still their opinion to me counts. So to come down here and come on the radio for us, that's a big thing. Even to those people who cannot vote, you still are for them.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I'm their mayor.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I grew up in a nice working class, middle class, Catholic, big family over in Raleigh Court. That's where I grew up. And yet, being mayor, I'll tell you, I always see the mayor's office here in Roanoke as being like a key.
Right.
It opens so many doors. If I didn't have this job, I wouldn't have been in so many churches or in so many homes or touched so many lives, or they've touched my. Just within the last couple of weeks, I was at the White House. I wouldn't have had and met the president again. I mean, I met him three times now, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I hadn't been the mayor. So that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But it's also I have the responsibility, as I said, of dealing with folks that are down on their luck, are destitute, are having all sorts of problems. Then sometimes I just got to deal with things like dog cases and filling up potholes. I mean, you know, if we don't clear, I don't need to worry about clearing the snow this winter because we haven't had any. If the snow's not cleared, they don't call the president. You know, they call me. They call me. Well, how come you didn't get my street cleared? So that's what's so nice about the job. It opens up. It's a key that opens up many doors.
Yes, sir. It does. And I'm glad you opened those doors and open many, many more. I hope you run forever.
Well, at least I'm running this time. And can I put in a plug? And say we got the Democratic primary is this Saturday, February 4 at William Fleming from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we hope everybody will come out. I'm running with Councilman Sherman Lee, Councilwoman Anita Price, and Councilman Court Rosen. This is a good ticket. They're running with me as mayor, and we look forward to people coming out. You have to be a registered voter here in the city. Doesn't cost anything. It's a schoolhouse primary, so it's not the state primary. It's what we call a schoolhouse or a primary. And again, it's this Saturday, February 4, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at William Fleming High School.
And before you get off of here real quick, can I ask you just to sum up 3 reasons why people should come down there and vote for that ticket, or for you in general?
If I had 3 words, I would say progress, unity, and cooperation. I think we're at a good point in Roanoke, despite, so I'd say number 1, I think we're at a good time in Roanoke, despite all the problems of the world that we see out in the news all the time. And the cities of America, other cities that are struggling, we really have developed an atmosphere of cordiality about conducting our own democracy right here in Roanoke. We know how to get it done. And when we are getting it done, we've got the progress with a new medical school. We've created jobs. The crime rate is down, and our schools are accredited. So that would be one reason. Secondly, we have members of the council, members of this team. They are prepared to serve on council. They know the form of government. They understand the issues. They're already familiar with the people that are involved. And then I think finally we understand that it's a commitment that you make.
Commitment, yes, sir.
And I think we're all committed to, we're very fortunate to live in this town, I think, and we're committed to make it even better.
Well, Mayor Bowers.
Hold on, because you can't go until you talk to Malatto. Thank you very much. My co-host is standing. Can you pass the mic over? We're going to need Mr. Bowers.
I like to talk.
My co-host trying to be a gentleman, ladies first.
Oh.
I did want to ask. I had a couple people that shouted out on Facebook when we let them know that you were coming. And one of the questions that I got was, living in the Roanoke Valley, what do you think the most important issues are? Most important issues facing the city are? What are the biggest issues that we have throughout the Roanoke Valley?
I would say it's always schools, probably crime in the neighborhoods, and then jobs. I think that's what people probably think about. And what I'm very proud of with our Roanoke City school system, for the first time in the history of Roanoke, over 125 years. For the first time, every public school in Roanoke is accredited by the Commonwealth, and the graduation rate is going up. Just a few years ago, we were at about a 50% graduation rate, and now it's almost pushing 80%, so that's a good thing. Secondly, the crime rate is going down for 6 consecutive years. The crime rate's gone down. And so, look, if you're going to live in Roanoke, as the mayor, I want people to live in Roanoke. I want them to like living here. I want them to feel like safe here and have a good time here. So we want to have nice restaurants, and we want to have nice stores, and we want to have hospitals and medical facilities. But you got to have nice neighborhoods where they're safe. And there are some neighborhoods that we still have to work on. The chief of police has just formulated that drug marketing initiative over in the Hurt Park neighborhood. So we're trying to address some of that.
I actually read about that. I think that was a good little tactic they used. Whatever works. Whatever it takes to clean up these streets. So we got to get it out of here. I mean, education first, books. Read books. Plenty of them.
Right, there you go. And people want safe neighborhoods, and then of course we got to make sure they have a job. And there will be another announcement later this week. The governor's coming to town. I can't tell you any more about it right now. I got to tease you a little bit, but the governor's coming to town, so there'll be some news later in the week about new jobs in Roanoke.
And as you also can see, my co-host is stingy. He doesn't like to share his microphone.
I was just about to pass it over there.
Now, also another question that we had was, how do you balance your personal life, your family life, with your job? Because you know that you're in the spotlight a lot, and a lot of people are watching what you're doing. And how do you balance all of that?
The best answer I can give you is I get up in the morning, and I'm at work at 7:30. I get up and I get out of bed, and I go to work. and on Sundays I go to early mass over at St. Andrews. My mom is 86, and I usually can see my mom over there at St. Andrews. So I was telling somebody on Sundays I'm praying for Roanoke, and the other 6 days I'm working for Roanoke. But I think that's the answer. I get up and I get about my business. I like what I do. I'm very fortunate to have a job two jobs as a lawyer and as the mayor. And actually last fall I had 3 jobs, because I was also a professor over, an adjunct professor at Virginia Western. So and that's how I juggle it. And then so I work hard during the week, and then I try to take some time off over the weekend. I don't play golf. My tennis game is shot. I can't keep, and so I do a lot of hiking now. I live over on Mill Mountain, and I do a lot of hiking now.
Yeah, because according to what I read up on the internet, you've lived in that area since they started that hiking trail there. And the green, and then we've developed the Greenway. Yeah. Okay. And then I also had a young lady today that I worked with. As soon as I mentioned that we were interviewing, she said she had been to church with you.
A witness.
Yeah. At St. Andrews Catholic. So she had definitely told me to make sure I send her regards. Do you have any questions or any expectations from the 540 radio station?
I think it's just great that you have community radio. We see so many things going. It seems like going to the networks,
right?
And or I don't know the jargon, but
they get syndicated.
Syndicated, that's right. And syndicated. And I think it's important here in Roanoke. We're a big enough city. We ought to have local radio.
Yes, sir.
We have local news.
Yes, sir.
We have local talk and local music, and it's promoting our community. And so Doc Holliday here, as I call him, was telling me he's in with the Jefferson Music Lab. I think those are the kinds of things that we ought to have. Was it you or was it Brandon? Brandon. Yes, it was Brandon was telling me. He's with the Jefferson Center Music Lab. I think that helps promote what's going on in Roanoke. Some of it's political, some of it's music, some of it's creative, some of it's a problem that we've got to address. But I think that we ought to. That's what we do well in Roanoke. This is our place. We're very blessed to be here, but we're all in this together, and we ought to take good care of each other.
And that's why we coined the phrase, Star City is our city.
There you go.
That's how we have to do it. Well, Mayor Bowers, we truly appreciate you coming down there. And don't forget when to plug that in one more time for me.
The primary?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for let me plug.
Yes, sir.
Saturday, this coming Saturday, you be there. Go to the school. Get to the schoolhouse on Saturday, February 4, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at William Fleming High School. Come on out and appreciate your vote for David Bowers, Sherman Lee, Anita Price, and Court Rosen.
Yes. Big shout out to Sherman Lee Jr. too. He's in the house. So, thank everybody for coming out today. 540 Radio is going to continue on with our interview today. Mayor Bowers, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, thanks so much. Nice to be with you.
All right, we got